Well, hello folks, and welcome back. Welcome to my third vlog about comet Neowise and the shoots that have revolved around that. So this particular vlog is about my third attempt, and as you will see, I headed out to the New Forest once again, to Whitten Pond. And there were a couple of things I particularly wanted to do there. One, I wanted to try and get a time-lapse of the night sky as the comet passed. And I also wanted to try and get some more interesting foreground and also just a better quality and a sharper shot of the comet than I'd managed to get before. So I hope you'll enjoy this part of the story. Good evening. Well, this is kind of take 3. I'm back out in the New Forest and I'm going to shoot the comet again. It's actually quite a nice, well, I call it a sunset. It's the end of the day. The sun is going down. It's very blue sky, so there's really no colour in it. I'm not going to shoot the sunset. That's not what I'm here for. In fact, I really want a clear sky. This, I hope, is going to be third time successful. I won't say third time lucky, because each time I go out, I'm learning a bit more. So I've come back out to Burley, or near there, slightly different site, and I've come to a place called Whitten Pond. So this is a very different kind of shoot. The last two I've attempted to shoot in the early hours. Tonight I'm going to be shooting from about an hour and a half after sunset. So the comet will be in the northwest and I'll therefore be southwest of the pond. I've brought my Nikon D700 with me, as well as the Sony RX10 Mark IV. Sorry about all the traffic noise. So the plan is that I am going to try a time-lapse with the Nikon and then do my other shots with the Sony. Now, the reason I wasn't very successful a couple of nights ago was because I completely ignored the 500 rule, and that's not a recipe for success. Because I was shooting, well, at about 100 mil focal length. And according to the 500 rule, that means I should be shooting at about 5 seconds. And I was shooting for 20 seconds. And that's why my stars and the comet, and the base of the comet, were very bean-shaped. Not what you want. Okay, I'm going to turn the camera around. Right, in the distance over there, just about visible, is Whitten Pond, or Whitten Pond. Now, I would be very surprised if I'm the only person who has thought of doing this tonight. And I think it's quite likely that I'm going to be in the company of other photographers. Let's go wide angle. There we go. What a beautiful place. Pretty flat, but you know, it's okay. Quite green at the moment. Anyway, I'm heading for the pond. I'm going to head around the far side and see. I'm hoping that it's going to be quite still. There's really very little wind at the moment. And so hopefully we'll get a good still surface on the lake. Let's see. The other thing I'm going to do tonight, I will take a lot of images, successive images. So I'll catch up with you in a minute when I'm there and I'm set up. Bye for now. Well, there's no hordes of photographers at the moment. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. We do at least have water. The edges are well trampled down, so I think the animals, the cows and the cattle and the horses are clearly quite frequent visitors here. You can see a lot of hoof marks in the sand and in the mud. And it's a beautiful evening. Wow, look at that, amazing. Now over there's a little rise, and one of the possibilities, if this doesn't work out, is to cross over the main road and go to the left of that hill, that rise, and set up somewhere over there, shooting towards that little hill, and me hot-footing it up there. But we shall see how that goes. Oh, look at this, it's beautiful. Just catching the sun dipping on the horizon. Let's just stop and make the most of that for a moment and just watch. Gorgeous. Orange colour. A little breeze. The mic is probably picking that up as I sorted out my wireless mic yet. And there we go, the sun is gone. That was a nice moment to get there, just as the sun set. It looks like the iPhone is trying very hard to reconcile the difference in dynamic range on this shot. Hasn't quite managed it. Well, I have been searching around for a composition, and I was really hoping that I would be able to stand next to a tree by the bank of this lake, but that isn't going to happen because all this gorse bush has grown up right in the wrong place. If those birch trees over there were on their own, and the little fir tree the other side of it, that would be great. Unfortunately, all this gorse bush growth will completely, from over there, completely obscure the view of the lake. And so I'm going to have to settle for somewhere over here. And I'm a bit of a distance off from the lake at the moment, and that's because I'm going to shoot, I think, at probably somewhere between 50 and 100 mil. And that will enable me to put myself in the picture on the shore of the lake, or the pond. It's more of a pond than a lake. Right, so I'm going to get set up. I'm going to try a test shot too with different focal lengths, and see if I can again get me in the picture, and see whether or not that's likely to work when Neowise rises, which will pretty much be sort of center of the frame ahead of us as I speak. I'll catch you later. Okay, it's about 20 past 10. I haven't yet seen hide nor hair of this comet. I'm going to have to wait till it gets a bit darker, really. Not seeing stars in the northern sky as yet, although Saturn and Jupiter are up and about behind me. Really good news is that the wind has dropped completely, and that the surface of the lake right now is absolutely still and creating just a perfect reflection. So when any stars do come up, we've got a good chance that we might be able to see some reflections. So it had been my hope that I would get a reflection shot of the comet in the pond, but actually the comet was higher in the sky than I was anticipating, and given my very low position, I'd have had to go right up to the water's edge to be able to get any kind of reflection. And that was a little bit complicated at the time. There were some relatively rare wild birds that were nesting in the area, and one of them had been buzzing around my head trying to warn me off, and I didn't want to disturb them any more than I already had done. So I decided to stay away from the very edge of the pond, and that limited my options in terms of getting a reflection shot. Now these two shots I think are quite interesting, these ones that are coming up. When you're taking a lot of shots of the night sky consecutively, there's a fairly good chance that because they're long exposures, quite often for 20-25 seconds, there's a reasonable chance that some of them are going to contain a comet. And you'll find in these next two shots, one taken with the Sony and one taken with the Nikon D700, that each of these happen to catch a meteor as it burned up in the atmosphere. See if you can spot them. Well, that has just been an amazing night of shooting. The stars have really come out to play tonight. I've been really disciplined about my shooting tonight, particularly of the comet. I've used short exposures. By short, I mean nothing longer, I think, than about 13 seconds. Most of them shorter than that. I've used higher ISOs, and I've taken a lot of pictures. I've tended to take about 20 frames of the same shot as light shots, and then another 20 of dark shots. So I haven't taken that many compositions, but I'm hoping that the ones that I've got are good and sharp, and I'll be able to eliminate a lot of the noise. It's got really dark, and the sky is absolutely clear. It's just beautiful. And before I pack up and go home for the night, I'm just going to go around the other side of the pond and see whether I can get a shot of the Milky Way rising above the pond. So here are two very similar images of the Milky Way on that night. One of them taken with the Sony, and one of them again taken with the Nikon D700. And it's interesting just to compare these two in terms of the quality of the image, the amount of noise and the level of detail that is captured with each of these cameras. I've put the settings on each image for you briefly, just so you can see how each one was set up. So I hope I've got some good shots to show you. In the meantime, thanks very much for watching yet again my attempt at trying to get some decent pictures of Comet Neowise. Bye for now and see you next time. I think that these three shots show the importance of keeping at it, of trying again. And if you've got a particular shot in mind, or if there's something particular you're trying to capture, go back, have another go. So here we've got three shots. The first that I took at Winchester Hill, the second at Burley Street, and then the final one at Whitten Pond. Each very different shots and attempts at capturing Comet Neowise. And I think it's probably reasonable to say that the best of the three was taken on the last occasion, when I managed to rediscover, if you like, some of the technique that I'd lost over the last couple of years through sheer lack of practice. And that shows the importance of getting out in the field and using your camera, whatever it is, whatever camera you've got, make the most of it and keep on trying. So I had three really interesting shoots here. I enjoyed every one of them. They were very different. They were different locations, and I applied different techniques in each one. But each time I went out, I came back with some shots that I didn't actually plan to take as I planned my trip. At Winchester Hill, I came back with some images of wildflowers in the area shortly after dawn. At Burley Street, I captured some nice pictures of a moonrise with Venus, and also Jupiter and Saturn over the misty valley south of Burley Street. And then finally, at Whitten Pond, I came away with an image or two of the Milky Way that I'm quite pleased with, really, given the equipment that I had been using that night. And all of these are examples of how important it is to keep your eyes peeled, keep flexible. If you're struggling to get the exact shot that is that you've been going for, don't give up entirely. Be prepared to have another go at something else, at a different composition. Be flexible and be ready to adjust to the circumstances that you find yourself in.